So in the spirit of developing a flexible routine, we are being flexible today and adjusting our location of filming and positioning here because we got some noise going on the far end over there. And so flexible routine specifically for language learning and really all aspects of your life. But the blog post, oh, this is cute, huh? We got little trees and that's a nice spot. The blog post for this I wrote also back in October of the last year, 2022. So if you caught the last video I did, the Monday video, then this one fly on my foot. This one is the sister video to that, and we're looking at routines and flexibility and building a structure that will support you for a long time and getting to know yourself as a learner so that you can build this. And whether that is a language learner, whether that is honestly any aspect of your life that you're working on, this is going to be valuable for you. And so when I think back to when I started that post, and again, this week it's really time warp kind of thing, because this is a whole year almost in the making, 11 months, and I wrote these two blog posts, set them aside, and then it's like, okay, now it's coming back. And it's coming back at this point in my life where I am finding these structures again for myself. And when I wrote the post to the blog about language learning, it was like, I'm learning 7 languages, and these are my languages, and I'm spending 5 hours a week on Mandarin, 2 hours on Spanish or whatever, and that was my structure, and that was cool. Those were good goals and structures. And I was like, okay. And at that time I had sessions with tutors, and those were every week I did that, and that worked for me. I no longer am doing that. That worked at that point in my life. It doesn't work at this time in my life. My focus now is not on language learning in the traditional sense. It's more of a holistic approach to language, which will become more clear over the next several months and years that I'm building what I'm building. And it's all kind of in here at the moment, but it's language centric, I promise. Just in a different way, in a way that my mind works. And so what's cool here is that those concepts and those structures, and this is why I said that whether you're language learning or you're doing something else entirely, they're going to be valuable for you, because having that, even I mentioned in my last video, non-negotiables. Well, and when I wrote this blog, it was may do, must do. And this is a teacher thing too, in the classroom, may do, must do, an elementary thing too. I started out there, and so it's helpful though. And it's these basic things that are so helpful that we somehow just forget as we become adults. And it gets to be so simple. And so with the may do, must do, it's pretty much the same as what I talked about with the non-negotiables, is that, okay, I must do what I'm doing right now, what I shared with you guys in the last video, which is my schedule now for mainly myself, for my videos, my blog, my Facebook group lives, for my free group. And oh yeah, one more, I have an email too that I've been sending out Thursday, Friday, depends on when I get to it. And it's something, Oh no, I'm comfortable in this brick. It's okay. A little adjustment there. Okay, and that too, that's one more piece. And so it's like slowly building and becoming something that like I love to live in. And I'm really, all kinds of weird things going on over here with my body right now, but it's okay. It's okay. We're okay. Because we're flexible. We're gonna adapt to whatever's going on right now. And so the schedule part of it is the must do or the non-negotiables, and those are crucial for having that structure, because if we want to have flow and fun and creativity, we must also have structure. If we don't, we have chaos, and chaos is not good for fun or for productivity or creativity or anything. It's just you have to have both. That's the balance of the universe and energy and how that all comes. And I know because I've gone to both ends of the spectrum, and now I'm somewhere here. Once in a while I'm here for like a second, and then I'm like here the scale, right? So this is kind of my thing right now, and my, you know what, I'm gonna open this up. My project that I mentioned that I wasn't ready to share in the last video, and this is not even that much longer after I made that other video, but as you can see, but the project is resilience and resistance. And I launched this resilience program a while ago, launched. It didn't work out for me the way I wanted it to, and I didn't have the enrollment I wanted. I didn't have anything I wanted for it, really. It just wasn't good at the time. And remember how I said in the last video that, or did I? It was at my Facebook Live. At some point, somewhere, if you're following me everywhere, you'll know, and you can tell me. But I have this tendency, this was my Facebook group, now I'm thinking I did that this morning. I have this tendency to want things and like things, and then not like them or not want them. And then since I've realized I have that tendency, rather than destroying them, getting rid of them, I take them and set them aside. And that has been really valuable to me, realizing that, because now I'm not wasting time anymore rebuilding, because I used to do that, just destroy it, I don't like this, destroy it, and then I'm like, fuck, I really wish I still had that, because now I want it. Or I've gotten rid of things that I really liked, and I'm like, man, that sucks, but then it's gone. And it's a balance, between having so many things that it's hoarder status, or having nothing and then complete minimalism. Those are the two balance points as well. But what I have done with this program that I'm really happy about is just set it aside. I left everything the way it was at the time. So, okay, this isn't working right now. There's whatever. I'm just gonna set it aside and see what happens. I'm gonna move on with my life. And I did that, and I'm feeling a little bit sick right now. So that's why we're recording today, and then rest time and done. Okay, so the program, I set it aside, and I was like, well, maybe I'll come back to that. Maybe I won't. And that's really the beauty of it too, is that freedom to be I'm not coming back to this, or I am coming back to this, and to have that option, and not to have it set in stone either way, but to be willing to let it go. Because when we hold on to trying to make something work too, that many times hinders us as well. And for our routines and our schedules, language learning, it's the same thing. When we're okay, no, I have to know by this date, I have to be able to pass this test by this date, or I have to be able to speak fluently by this date. And it's okay, well, maybe that's not the case. You can definitely achieve your goals, but setting that timeline is limiting to you, and you may or may not be able to achieve them by that timeline. So it's important to create that space for yourself and to have that time, because things come up, whether it is just it's more difficult than you expected, or something happens in your life where you have to take a break. Like, things happen. So it's important to have that flexibility and a little bit of muscle soreness, and it's important to have that, and then when you go through life, it helps you because you have that ability to say, okay, well, this isn't working right now. I have this deadline on myself. Well, I put it on myself. Do I really need it? So you can really reassess, what do I absolutely need? And these are just building those foundational pieces, like step by step. And you see how long I'm recording, so you guys don't end up with like a 30 or 40 minute video. Don't worry, it's not going to be that long. And so it's important to have that discernment for yourself. And that's one of the things that I was sharing today in the live, in the Facebook group, in the free Facebook group. And that is that connection with yourself and loving who you are and where you are right now, because that's where this begins. It begins here with you. And this process of getting to know yourself and then deciding, okay, these are my must-dos, like I am gradually creating again for my business that existed before and now have this, and the language pieces will come in. Like, I kind of know in my head kind of how they're, like, I have ideas for how they're coming in. I don't think they'll really make sense to anyone but me at this moment, so I'm gonna keep them in the idea zone in here. But the focus right now, I'm like, okay, these are my like must-dos. And the cool thing here is that we create those so that we have structure, and then we create the play and the fun and the flexibility and the just creativity, so that we can have a flexible routine by having just a few structures that are like, you know. And when we do that, it's like, it does have an amount of like rigidity there at the core, but having that line of this is the structure for right now is really valuable, and it allows us to have more flexibility ultimately, because it's that balance. And I talked more about this in the other video. If you didn't catch it, I really recommend that you catch that, the last YouTube video. And so with that balance point, and this is also like the theme for my resilience and resistance, that end up being is like all about balance and everything else that's in there. But with this, it's like, okay, these are a few. There's not that many, but it's a few. And these are things that I can do long term. Like, these are things that I can add onto my identity, essentially. Like, I am doing, like, and doing these things, I'm just doing them. This is my life. This is who I am. This is what I do. And for language learning, you know, like, they'll shift and evolve a bit more. Then, I know what business is going to evolve to. It all evolves. So it's not like I'm going to do this for the rest of my life this way, but I am going to do this for the rest of my life kind of thing. You know, I'm not necessarily going to study this language like 5 hours a day for the rest of my life. And I don't really recommend you do that to begin with. Okay, I'll say 5 hours a week for the rest of my life. Like, no, that's crazy. But that might be right now. And then you get to a point like in a couple of years where you're like, I feel good. And then you get to this point, this is when you say, all right, let me add a little bit of something else on. Let me change this. I'm gonna adjust. And it'll just happen one day. You won't even notice that it happens. Like, it'll just be, if you're doing it right, you won't even think about it. It'll just feel like a shift. And someone will ask you one day, how did you get to where you are? How did you get to be able to speak that well? When did you become fluent? in that language? When did you become so flexible? When did you become this person? And you'll think about it, maybe for a moment. I don't know. I just had this routine, this structure, and I'm flexible. I kind of flow through it. I do what I can. Sometimes I'm more productive than others, and I stuck with it for some years now, and yeah, I can do this now. And it might not make sense to the other person, and that's okay. And it might not make sense to you right now, and that's okay. But what you can do for yourself right now is experiment different structures, different plans, different anything. And when you find something, and it won't even be like, oh, I choose this. This is like a thing someone said, I'm going to choose this. No. Keep trying different things, try to, like, you can go through different routines. Like, you might have something, okay, I'll choose this, I'll do this 5-step, whatever, I'll do this book, I'll read this Becoming Bilingual book, and then follow the steps through there, and do my journaling, and do my Linguist Dojo course, and go through that, and learn all about that. But then, I'll find within myself a nudge that says, do this a little more. This is working. Do this a little more. And then I look at it and say, huh, this? Okay, I trust you. Trust myself. Because ultimately, when we're becoming a language learner or we are language learners, when we're becoming anything, we are building that relationship with ourselves. And martial arts has really taught this to me, because it's just, there's no other way to get through the ranks, to get to black belt without having learned about yourself and realizing that we're always somewhere on this spectrum of learning. And when we connect with ourselves and what we need, it's like, okay, I make so much more progress when I actually tune into myself than I do when I am so focused on achieving different goals. And when I just commit to progress, that's actually when I achieve those goals. It's not when I choose those goals and then try to get there. It's when I set an intention of something that I want, and I want to be fluent in Spanish, and I say, okay, I'm going to practice. I'm going to find any way that's available to me, and I'm going to practice. And I'm going to find my way. I'm going to keep trying different things. I'm going to feel into things that feel like, ooh, they're moving me forward. Maybe add those to my routine. And I'm going to keep trying different ways. I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to put in the hours. And then before you know it, you've reached that goal and that intention. Like that situation I was just describing. And you don't necessarily know when you got there. And it may have even been faster than it is faster. It's tricky because you don't get to know, but it's worth it. But yeah, it's worth it. The peace that you find within yourself and where you are in your learning, and how it no longer really matters when you reach those goals, because progress is essentially your goal. It's like the best feeling in the world, because you're no longer chasing. You're there already. You love where you are and who you are right now, and it's beautiful. And so creating a flexible routine is just that. Building structures, your must-dos, having some may-dos, and these can be just experimentation. You don't have to have like specific things. It's probably better if you don't have specific things. Just play, experiment. Start with the may-dos even, just experiment, try to, and then slowly build the must-dos actually. Now that I think about it, you can do it that way, and that way could be, either way can be effective. Feel into it, whichever one you're most excited about. Just try it, start and see how it goes. And just like, yeah, just jump in and just like get your hands dirty, and that's how you get progress. And you have that flexibility, and it's make it fun and just worth doing and exciting. And tell me about it in the comments down below this video, and on the blog post or wherever. Come to the Facebook group, and come see me next video. And this Thursday, should be Monday. And yeah, I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Bye!